Hello, this is Greg Allison with Green Greg's coming to you on 24 June 22. Time on deck is 18:34 hours Central Daylight Time. My friends, we need to talk about priorities. We need to talk about vested interest. Should the United States have its priorities in Asia or in Europe? And what does that mean? Does that mean you put everything in one place and ignore the other? We need a national conversation on this because we need to consider where our true vested interests are. And oh, by the way, behind me, this is a HIMARS rocket. This is the rocket that the United States has sent to, this is the M270, excuse me, the M142. The M270 is on the other side of me. This is the M142 HIMARS rocket that we have sent to Ukraine. And it should make a big difference in Ukraine right now. And on the other side of me here, that's the M270 system. That's the multiple launch rocket system. Okay, so my friends, yeah, I'm standing between two rocket systems, and we're discussing the difference between two national priorities. What should be our emphasis? By the way, subscribe to my channel, bang the notification bell, and click all. We may be on the verge of World War III in Europe. We may be on the verge of World War III in the Mideast with Iran and Israel. We may be on the verge of World War III in Asia right now. Guys, if you've never prepped, do it now. And right now you need to consider long-term food storage. Go to prepwithgreg.com. There you get sources. My Patriot Supply. We got a special there, prepwithgreg.com. My Patriot Supply is 25-year lasting food that give you breakfast, lunch, and dinner, 2,000 calories a day, a big difference from the other stuff. Now, all that aside, let's get back into this. Okay, Europe. What does Europe produce or offer to the United States? Yeah, sure, it's our ancestral land for many of us. I don't live there. Been a long time since I've had any ancestors from over there. We've been here for a long time. We're American. I don't go by Euro-American. I consider that offensive. I am an American. Europe, my dad fought there. My granddad fought there. World War I, World War II. But what today is our vested interest in Europe? What is our interest in Europe today? I hear birds, crickets. I don't know, guys. I can't really think of it. I can't think of anything that Europe has or does or offers that's in our vested interest. We may have humanitarian concerns there. We should have humanitarian concerns between the Hutsis and the Tutsis who like to cut each other to pieces with machetes in Africa, for Pete's sake. They're human too. So, again, what is our vested interest in Europe? None. None I know of. Yeah, we're in NATO, though. We are in NATO. We are treaty bound. If any NATO nation is hit, that we got to respond, that we have to go in. The problem I have with that is Europe is not pulling their weight in it. Europe is not pulling their weight. It's an American deal mostly, guaranteed by America. Why is not Europe putting up more than what we are? It is in their interest, not ours, and yet we put our blood, money, young boys, and treasure into it for them. I think Europe needs to pine up a lot more. Trump made them pine up more. He talked about pulling out and everybody badmouthed him. Oh my God, how could you do that? Why not? Why not? What interest do we have there? Really? Why aren't we in NATO at all? I think we need a national discussion on that topic. Okay, that side. What about Asia? Well, let's see. Alaska goes almost into Asia, don't it? Alaska is the only territory that got attacked by a foreign power in American history since the British attacked us in 1812. In the 1940s, we were attacked by Japan. Two islands, the Alaskan chain, the Aleutian Islands, were attacked and occupied temporarily by Japan. We drove them out. It was called the 1,000-Mile War. Now, also Guam is an American territory. Who else is American territory? Well, we got Hawaii that's in the middle of the Pacific. That's a United States state. So we got two states that are basically in the Pacific Ocean, close to Asia, that border on Asia. We got Guam, an American territory out there. Well, beyond that, we trade heavily with and depend on nations like Taiwan for computer chips, South Korea, and Japan. We have new budding trading alliances with India. So India has got, over 1 billion people, will be a bigger country than China in the not too distant future. Because China's demographics are sliding downhill while India is still growing. So we have huge interest in Asia. So much trade, so much goods. Even the Middle East is not so much interest to us anymore. Quite frankly, we can produce all the petroleum we need right here in the United States. We don't need the Mideast. We don't need Europe, but we still need Asia. And we're tied into Asia. And the biggest threat in the United States and the world right now, aside from Russia having the biggest nuclear arsenal, is a country that's building the big military faster than any military has been built since World War II, and that's China. China is an existential threat to the United States of America. Yeah, Russia is somewhat too, but Russia is fading. Russia's in her last gasp. I don't mean they couldn't totally annihilate us. They can if they launch their nuclear arsenal at us. We got to make sure that we don't get them to do that. But should we do that over countries that we have very little vested interest in? I think we need a conversation on that. Yeah, okay. I feel for the people of Ukraine. I do. They're being invaded. They're being attacked. Putin has clearly shown that he wants to rebuild the empire. He said it. He's wanting to rebuild the empire of Peter the Great. So you're going to throw out all these other excuses you want. He told us why he's going there. And I told you in the past that it had to do with building a strategic depth and choking all the potential choke points off for invasion into Russia. The only problem is, to accomplish that, Russia has to subjugate more people outside of Russia than there are inside of Russia. Is that right? Some of you told me that Russia has a right to do this. No, I don't think so. Nobody should have to live under another country that doesn't want to. Nobody should have to, no region should have to be in a country that doesn't want to. I support separatism. I support freedom. I support independence of peoples that do not want to be held against their will in another country. I always have. Very much so. If Texas wants to go, let Texas go. Quebec wants to go, let Quebec go. The Basque and other such peoples and places. And the Kurds should have their own nation. Sorry, Mr. Recep Erdogan. Kurds should be Kurdistan. I know you won't like hearing that. Let the Uyghurs go, China. Let Tibetans go, China. So there you go. Now you see where I'm coming from. We do have a huge vested interest in Asia. Asia is very much a growing dynamic in the future. We're tied in with Japan. We are in Asia. We are more so in Asia. We got a lot of troops in Europe, but we don't have any American territory in Europe. Yeah, we conquered Germany, but we gave it back. Same way with the Philippines. Same way with Japan. Whoever, people down the United States all the time talk us down. The United States is the worst place that ever existed. Really? Who else conquers a place because they attacked you, and then you turn around and give it back to them in better shape than when you took it? Nobody else has done what we've done, guys, in that regard. And we're not perfect. I never claimed that. But holy smoke, guys, quit crying so dang much about it. We are who we are. We can make it better, sure. But right now, we've got to look after our interests, and we got to say, we got to ask, what is our interest? Is it Asia? Is it Europe? Okay. Now, we have made some commitments to Ukraine, and we've given them things. I hope they can stave off the invasion. Some of you will get mad when you hear that. Oh my gosh, Russia's got the right to totally annihilate the people there. Really? You think that? You really think that? We need to have some more conversations. I don't agree with that. But I don't agree that Ukraine should be holding people against their will either. What's the real will of the people in Donbass and Crimea? Apparently they want to be separated. But, we should have a fair, independently monitored election to determine that. I don't know that's a fact. There's certainly big areas in the Donbass that have fought not to be part of Russia. So I guess everybody in Donbass don't go along with that. So there's a whole lot of story behind that, a whole lot of backstory, a lot of stuff that, you see all these little things out on the internet. They tend to simplify it. There's a lot of propaganda out there. I'm going to sweep all the propaganda aside. I'm just going to say, guys, what is our real natural interest, and where should it be? What should we be doing? Yeah, Russia can be a real threat to Europe. Russia may take the Baltic states. Stopping them in Ukraine may stop that. So in terms of our allegiance with NATO, I totally get it. But should we be allied with NATO? I'm not saying no, but I'm saying it ought to be different. Europeans need to step up. They need to step up the plate. It shouldn't be America ensuring your future for you and bankrolling it for you. That's what we've done here. We have covered your future. We bankrolled you for decades and let you compete unfairly against our companies. But we did so because we were trying to keep the world free from the Soviet Union when they were bent on world domination. Russia today just wants the Russian Empire back, not the entire world as far as I know. I don't believe they can hold it if they got it, this new expanded Russian Empire. In fact, I don't think Russia can hold on to Russia. Their demographics is not on their side. Russia is going to fall apart. I can talk about that more in the future. They will fall apart. The problem is they can do a lot of damage between now and then. I know a lot of you think that Putin is the greatest thing since Jesus Christ walked the earth. I'm not saying you're thinking he's equal, but you think he's great and wonderful. He's a great Christian, I hear from a lot of you, but somewhere he forgot, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not murder, and a few other, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's property, thy neighbor's country. How about that? So, yeah, we need to reconsider some of these things. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's country. How about that? So not just the property and the wife. Oh yeah, back in the day, the wives were considered property. That was just part of the property law. That's the way it was. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just telling you how they looked at it back in the day. So my friends, I think we got a conversation to hold here. I'm not saying what the answers are. I'm just saying that it's a conversation that needs to be held. That we need to really weigh it out. What is our real interest? Why are we there? And if we're going to be there, should it still be on the terms we're on? What do you think? Why not talk about this? This is a prepping channel, right? Why am I talking about national policy? Because we're on the verge of war. It may be unavoidable at this point. I don't know. I hope not. I hope we can avoid it. I definitely hope we can stop the bigger missiles from flying and dumping nukes on us or taking out our power grid. Mind you, that Iraq was a cakewalk compared to what we might face with Iran. And Iran has said that they would take down our power grid if we got into war with them. And they're looking at, they've got sleeper cells in America that would directly attack our transformers. They, on the verge of having, according to some sources, 3 times the uranium to make 3 nuclear devices. I submit they've already had 2. They got 5 in their pockets. It might get bold. They might chunk a couple up toward America from the offshore from Venezuela. Stacey Savicki saw it in her vision, and take down our grid. They could really do us, that little nation could do us a horrific damage. It destroy our country. So we got to be aware. You got to prepare. Get ready for the bad days. Pray and hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. That's my motto. Do it however you can to make sure your family's protected. That's why I talk about these things. But somewhere along the lines, we got to figure out where we put our priorities, because if we put too much into Europe, we may not be covering Asia. If we think we need to cover both, then we need to step up to the plate and do it like we did back in the days of the Cold War. We need to up our military and make sure we can do a 2-front war, which we're not there right now. We'll need to recruit more soldiers, build more equipment, and man up our military for if we got to cover both sides. But why? 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 And why are we the policemen of the world? Yeah, we're the big nation. We get demographics that's still on our side, and we'll be for a long time. I get that. But why is that our job to free the rest of the world? We do believe in freedom. But how much risk should we take to our homeland for that? I think we need to discuss these things. There's a lot of emotion in this discussion. A lot of people believe it's X, Y, or Z. This is a bad guy, that's a good guy. They're all bad guys. These people that rise to power, they're all bad guys. Don't matter what side they're on. Our side included. You can go inside the Beltway, it ain't pretty. Nothing's pretty up there. You go inside these powers in Europe, they're not pretty. And neither is Ukraine or Russia. Okay? Russia's ruled by a mafia-so type organization. The oligarchs and Putin. That's how they set it up. So, all right, we can talk more about this in the future. I just wanted to point it out there that we really need to ask the question right now. Where's our parties belong? But for right now, real quick, there are nuclear devices just 24 miles from Ukraine, and Belgorod, however you say that, 22. There are dozens and dozens of facilities that the Russians have nuclear devices, to include hydrogen bombs, on even short-range missiles. They could deploy those in Ukraine very fast, and they've already shown that they have a desire to wipe out entire cities. So what's to keep them, if the things don't go to suit them, from taking nuclear devices to it? What's to keep this thing from escalating, guys? It's things we got to ponder. It could really escalate over there, and we're already in it. Russia is already, you know, the guys in the Russian media are already saying that, and this is how you can show me that you made it this far. There's guys in the Russian media right now saying that the United States and Britain should both be turned into a cinder. So tell me in the comments below what the Russian pundits on Russian media are saying the United States should be. It's state-run media, by the way. State-run media. So why do they say that? Because we're wanting to help people from getting totally overrun? Interesting thing to say, just because you're trying to help somebody from getting overrun. And it's as if we started it. You know, in fact, one of them said that we started it. Really? We didn't invade Ukraine. Okay. So, you know, I say I'm coming down a little bit on both sides here. You see what I'm saying, guys? Coming down a little bit on both sides. But I'm nobody that's going to lick Putin's boots, because I don't think that he is the savior of the universe that some people think he is. and neither do I think NATO is, and certainly not anybody from Mr. Swab the Decks crowd, if you know what I'm talking about, with a forum that's supposed to be economic. This is his own devise, corrupt up to his eyes. Anyway, enough said about that. We don't need to give them jack diddle. All right, folks, thank you for watching. Greg out.